Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Gold, Widow, and Sombra player on Gibraltar here. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that really does help me out quite a bit, and I do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, events we have, all that good stuff. Are we starting with Sombra? Works for me. Sombra Tracer Widow. Ooh, this could be fun.
A girl just has to have the latest tech.
This could be a lot of fun. They won't be coordinated, but I can dream.
Attackers incoming.
I might need this later.
Escort the payload.
Did you put your translocator that passive?
A girl just has to have the latest tech.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
I might need this later.
Not a fan. It's way too passive. It's very unlikely that they're holding this close. You're going to want a translocator that's a little closer to the fight. You don't have to put it right on the health pack, super obvious and all, but even a translocator tucked right in here behind the door frame is still close to the health pack, is like so that it's not just camped on the health pack. Puts you close to the fight. Like, there's no reason to add the extra seconds to your travel. It's very unlikely that a translocator here back to here isn't safe with what your team you just expect to control. Okay. I mean, you can drop. This is really a why aren't you just stealthing again? Like, you should just stealth again and either go back over here or walk across the bridge. And probably the answer is go up over here while you're stealthed again and then set up behind these guys. Like, I'm surprised that you unstealthed at all, to be honest. I saw you thought you had a shot, but no, forget the ball. Forget the ball. Do Sombra work. You're done. You still have your translocator up. You can do this. Why did you shoot from here, though? Okay, we're adjusting some things here. Cool. Let's get our 5-second rewind. Okay, good with this. Fine. You reload. You go here. Yeah, no one's really paying that much attention to you. They're definitely paying attention to the monkey. I'd have preferred you just got closer. Like, there's very little reason for you to have opened fire from this far away. It's just like, oh, let me do ineffective high spread spray at this distance. Why? Like, you didn't need this. You can get closer. You still had timing to get closer to synchronize this with your Winston. I'm not asking your Winston to change his timing. I'm just saying you should have gone closer before you opened fire here. But whatever. Yeah, now you have to spend a reload because you spent all that clip and didn't really do all that much damage. That was so passive. Fine. Now you're gonna have to wait to throw no one, though. Okay, you're gonna go like this. Perfect. Perfect. This is the right way to do it. Don't drop. Why would you drop?
Be right back.
You realize you're going to have to wait to place a translocator because you just used it for movement. Totally get it. And you would like to place your translocator up here. I'm on the same page. No reason to drop. You can hack him from here. You can shoot him from here. You can contribute plenty to this. You peel this push, effectively. You go, hey, we're going to hack the ball and push back the ball. And then, after you've dealt with the ball, because the ball leaves or the ball gets eliminated, then you go, yeah, my team can handle the Rhine. Or, if you want, you can handle the Rhine like that. But you don't want to just drop here, because then if you want to get back up here, which there was good reason to get up here in the first place, by the way, you're going to have to use your translocator again. And you're going to be stuck with the dead time of waiting.
Let's get started.
Please go around high ground.
Always leave yourself a back door.
Okay.
Is it hot in here or is it just...
This was the least interesting option. You just dropped and are now with your team. If you're with your team, you might as well be Hanzo. Be Sombra. Go, hey, I can take control of this. Or, hey, I can go establish control back here and then wrap through and potentially get here. Don't be here. This is super lame. If you're being here, you might as well be Hanzo. Like that is. Like seriously, go take your flank control. These spots matter for actually getting control of the point. If you control this, they're not going to be able to get in here and do work, or they're going to have to push you out before they can get in here and do work, or you're going to let them in and you're going to slip behind them, and then you're going to eliminate them from behind. Like this with the team thing is not where we want to be at all. So if you're playing a very flank-heavy McCree or a very off-angle heavy McCree, that can be true, yes. You can go... So what you run into when you're talking about Sombra, let's get some things here. If we're a red team right here, and your team is like here and here and here and here, just as an example, and the blue team is here and here and here and here. So in some worlds, you'd play Sombra over here. And what that other coach is telling you is, no, it takes too long to get from here to here and then teleport out and then get from here to here and teleport out, and it's just not efficient. Fine. That's totally fine. But what they're going to say is instead play Sombra from over here so that you still have an off angle, or play Sombra from over here. And that's more what they're talking about. I'm not talking about these long flanks that you instantly have to teleport out of and then can't do work from again. This up here is just an off angle. Kree would be perfectly happy with this. So like if you went, hey, this is where my team is playing from, and my Sombra is playing from here with an off angle to do work, totally fine with me. This is more of a play it like a traditional flanker, actually get behind them and then go on them when they actually do their thing, etc. This would be more that. And I'd also be okay with that. That said, in this particular match, we're playing into a ball that they're going, hey, maybe I want some hacks on balls. And we're playing into we were playing into a Widow. Now they've eliminated the Widow. But they have these high ground hit scan, and tying up these high ground hit scan is going to have some value. Just doing a small off angle, like, look at these two teams. If we just go, hey, we have Sombra, and let's play Sombra like it's a McCree with a small off angle into this team that has McCree plus Soldier, that's probably not going to work for us very well. Like, yes, we in theory put out more damage, except that these guys just put out way more damage. So if we're going to play it like that, all we're doing is saying, hey, we're going to get our ult a little faster, and we're actually going to get... That's not even true, because we're just going to get forced out faster on the shallow off angle than the steep off angle. Now we can retake the shallow off angle cheaply, but what you're looking at there is when that gets said mostly when you're playing in Brawl v Brawl type situations, is primarily when that's coming up, or when you're playing the divey brawl thing, like the Reaper Sombra stuff, because they don't have good ways to make your Sombra leave. We're playing into a comp that has very good ways to make our Sombra leave if she holds shallow angles, and they'll also make her leave if she takes steep angles, but it's more compromising for these guys to turn around if they take steep angles. Cool. Oh yeah? Yeah, gonna take blue box? No. You're gonna play mid. Fine. Totally fine hack attempt. Didn't work out. Second hack attempt doesn't make sense. Why are you holding a hack attempt here? What? Do you think this is useful anymore? And do you think there's really... I mean, you could, I suppose, get it off, but this is the direction that the Reinhardt wants to be shielding. You're not at a different direction. Your hack just isn't going to work. You're wasting uptime here. You're wasting damage that you could be doing. You're wasting shots that you could be putting into the soldier. You just... Chain going for hacks when it's not working is not the play. It's really not. But in this, why would you need it anyways? Like, the hack is going to enable your team to get the elimination. Does your team look like it's remotely struggling to get the elimination on this Reinhardt? The answer is no. So just contribute your damage to make it faster. Don't go for the hack. Don't go for the hack going, this is going to enable it. No, they don't need it. I'm not even hugely a fan of that. Like, okay, You got the hack on him. Did your team remotely need the hack on this? Does the hack really help you on this? Okay, he doesn't have legs. Legs doesn't have legs. And he can't drop heal station or send helix rocket. Like, okay, but he's a target that's in this range that you didn't have. Like, this is a damage spot. Yeah. Yeah. Please stealth. Okay. Doing this.
I'm on fire. Touch me, and you'll get burned.
I don't like this just holding down right click, looking around for a target attack.
Initiating.
Mm-hmm. I was fine with that hack. I just didn't like the holding down of the hack looking for something we hope we could hack. Mm-hmm.
Get me. Be right back. Apagando las luces. Get me. Be right back. Apagando las luces.
Yeah. I don't love it. It's not like a 1 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10 or anything, but I don't particularly like it. And the reason I don't particularly like it is you're pretty far pushed up. The card is back here, and the card being back here doesn't mean that the team fight can't happen here, but I think your team is going to struggle to extend into this. Like, Hanzo's angle isn't particularly aggressive. Hanzo can shoot where the fight is right now, but of course when they get EMP'd, they're going to scurry for cover as best they can. They're not going to have abilities to do it, but they're going to scurry for cover as best they can. Is Hanzo in a place where if they move behind cover, he can quickly adjust to compromise that cover? The answer is no. Does Winston have leap, or did Winston use leap to get here? Winston has leap. That's a good sign. Sigma's here, but again, you don't really have much compromising their cover. Like, Anna's here, Bap is here. You don't have anyone up over here. You don't have anyone up over here. You don't have anyone up here. You don't have, like, your team right here. They're going to have trouble following them if they get behind cover. So, like, I would have actually liked you to delay this EMP just a little bit more. To go, I want this to be a little closer to when the fight is actually starting. Your team might be able to jump on top of this, but they're going to have to use their abilities and such to get in. They're going to have to instantly get value. If you don't immediately get a pick or two off of this, it's not going to be great. Do I think you're probably going to get a pick or two off of this? Yes, but I'd have still liked a better EMP. I'd have liked you to, it might feel great, like, oh yeah, I'm hitting a lot of people, it's fantastic, and it is, but your team is kind of far back for it. They're not like super far back, won't be able to follow up at all, but you could definitely have upgraded this EMP by waiting until your Hanzo had transitioned to spaceship or here, by waiting until your Winston, was a little closer in like here, by waiting until your BAP was here. Like this is just going to be, let's see if they spread to cover. Let's see where they go. Okay. Hanzo immediately had to leap forward. Does Hanzo have shots? Barely. You see how this is pretty much exactly what I predicted? Your Hanzo has what, one person that he can shoot at? Your Hanzo can maybe shoot at Ball and McCree right now. And your Winston is about to have to follow people out of line of sight of his supports. And his supports can't quickly rotate up to cover. So that's what I was worried about. I think you'll still get work done. I think you'll still win the fight. Yikes. Yikes. Okay, you almost didn't, but you got it. Good.
Natural selection.
I'm out of here.
Okay. Angle left. Angle left. Why are you here? You wanted to angle left because it looked like this guy was going to push your Winston, and you wanted to be like, hey, I'm near cover, and if you do angle into my Winston, I just get to shoot you in the back. Like, this is where you want to be. You don't want to just stand in the middle of the firing lane here. Even if you can teleport away if you take damage or if people start shooting at you, why expose yourself like this? Why be in the middle of the firing lane and on the same exact angle as your Hanzo when you could instead be over here, or you could just activate that translocator and poke them down from up here, which would also be fine. That would be great even. But while the Rhine was pushing your Winston, you wanted to angle over here, so you were close to him but got to shot him in the back. Now that they're back there, there's the lamp in play. Probably just teleport up here and break the lamp, and then start shooting at people from above.
Let them up.
You're still playing the middle of the lane. Why would you ever expect that to work? Who are you trying to hack right now? The Lucio? Does the Lucio need to be hacked right now? Beat's already come out. Hacking the Lucio isn't going to do you much good. And if he's any good, Amp probably came out when Beat came out. So he doesn't have anything you want to take away from him. Now you're bringing it over to the Reinhardt. Which again, I'm looking at this and going, okay, well, it looks like at first you were starting on the Lucio. Now you're moving to the Reinhardt. You're looking right at the Reinhardt, and the Reinhardt is looking at your Ana, not you, but you're very much on his screen. You're just trying to reaction time check him. You don't reaction time check people while looking straight at them. Like, you can maybe reaction time check a diva when you're behind her, when you're, 150 degrees on her flank, something like this, where it's like, hey, and I'm over here and I get it. Like, sure, you can try and reaction time check that, but you're reaction time checking someone who's looking right at you, and they don't have to hit a shot at you. He just has to press the right click button. This is like, even if this works for you now, you know it's not going to work as you climb up. So you need to be thinking about, how do I do this better? Because this clearly isn't the way that you use hack, because you know it's not going to work for you as you get up. So again, when you got up here, that was fine. You could have then gone again and ended up over here, because you could have used your translocator, then fought from up here. You had plenty of work you could do. Then you could lob your next translocator while doing your work from here, or then teleport and then work from over here once the team's pushed deep enough. Like, this was better, and these would have been great angles. And if someone jumps at you, no problem, you can get out. Like, this was way better, and it gave you access to actually hit hacks from behind, from the side, which are harder to interrupt. Or if you don't see something that actually makes sense to hack, like that Lucio didn't make any sense to hack, you just get to use your weapon. You hold M1 and go, yep, I'm charging EMPs. And when I want to, drop EMP. Like, this is silly. You gonna press X? Okay, good. You didn't really have much respect for that window, and we could talk about that, but hey. Okay. Good. Angle right, angle right. What? No, the answer is not get closer. Okay, let's show you how this works. I don't care about that. This I care about. You two are on basically the same angle. Your job is not to get closer like this. Your job is to go like this to make a greater angle between you and you so that he's uncomfortable over here. Because when you do that, his shield becomes less effective. Right now, his shield is working against both of you. But if you angle over here and here, then he goes, oh, well, I can still turn my shield and block both of you. Okay, cool. But can you walk forward? Well, I can sort of walk forward. Like, you want to create these situations where, but now your shield, if you walk forward, is getting less and less effective against everything over here, and over here is where the cart is, and you almost certainly have a support back there, someone who will start chunking him, or the Moira who's also trying to use the shield if you do that. So you want to be pulling him this direction, because you probably have an ally over here that's threatening from this angle, you have someone threatening here, and you can threaten from here. If you instead just go closer, that gives you basically the same angle as your Sigma, and now he can set his shield. Now he can set his shield like this, whatever, I made the shield too big, but it wouldn't block over here anymore, but it doesn't have to because you're not there. It does block your backline back here as well as you and your tank up here. You see how that works? Like, you want to spread your angles. You don't want to let them go, hey, I get to block you and other people at the same time. Reinhardt does struggle when he has to deal with multiple angles. That's why Reinhardt's get uncomfortable and they go, what do I do? What do I do? And then they end up wasting time and you win. It's great. Okay.
Apagando las luces.
Score.
It's like hack is off cooldown. It's the first target they see after losing the old first target behind cover. Yeah, it feels like that sometimes.
Initiating.
Okay. Are we staying on the Sombra or are we going to Widow here? I know when I glance through... Oh, we're staying on the Sombra. Okay.
Aw, you know I can't share my
So far,
Attackers incoming.
your lack of angles is disturbing. And you can be the extreme get behind them angles that if you then get forced out are long teleports and long reset ups. You can do that, but really what I'm looking for is the 45, the 90 degree off angles, the high ground 90 degree off angles, the high ground 70 degree off angles. Those are what we're looking for. And our hack needs to not just be an automatic thing. It needs a little more thought needs to go into it. We're not just constantly looking for a hack. A hack doesn't mean anything unless it has a purpose. You hacking Lucio to stop beat while our team amps in? Cool. Like, okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Too early.
Sniper, ten cuidado. Always. Looking for me?
Stop the
I'm glad
payload.
you waited until Hog was behind that cover. You're now hitting a hack when she doesn't have sleep dart, so you're only blocking nade. I don't know. I don't know about this because it really becomes a question of can you 100 to 0 her before the hack would end? Because if you can't, you stopping the nade didn't really stop the nade. And I'm not convinced that you can. Yes, I just saw that you can't, but I'm not convinced that you can. Which means you would have potentially preferred to open with damage here. You do this.
Sniper, ten
That's
cuidado.
not too bad, aim-wise. Okay.
Translocating.
I mean, obviously missed way too many shots, but like that's from a actually tracking standpoint, it can be more predictive than it was, but technically that aim was, they're trying to aim, I can see it. I'm going to be fine with it. Don't do it, don't do it!
Ganaste. Ganaste.
I know you think you're brilliant, and this is like really cool. Hey, I got the flying hack. Wait, I got the flying hack when there's a Widow and an Anna and a Mercy boosted Hanzo, and I'm going to drop in front of my Rhine shield, and I'm just falling through the air and I can't control my movement. Wait, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. I don't love that. Hey, Mystery. Yeah, just sitting high ground and farming would be excellent. I would be very much a fan of that.
Ahorita regreso. Miss me? Don't mind me. Feeling sleepy?
No, if you're just holding hack like that, I mean, you're holding it thinking you can get ball, but no.
I'm out of here. I might need this later. Looking
That
for
was
me?
a long time in detected space. Why are you standing here? Back up a little bit further. Like, you have the Winston bubble, so I'll live, but like, ugh. You gotta be sensitive to where your cover is. Good, this is better, but now you have to teleport out. Yeah. What are you doing? Why do you think you can do this? This team is a much better poke team than you. Why do you think you can go poke them from their sight lines? This is very strong poke right here. They have a Widow, they have a Hanzo, and they have a Mercy boost. Like, you're shooting them from here. Excuse me? Excuse me? You can come around and shoot them from here. That's fine with me. You can fight things out of their sight line out here. Like, well, now you'd have to be fighting Roadhog, which maybe you don't want to do. But, like, conceptually, you can fight the ball when he's here from here, if the Roadhog isn't right here. But you can't do this. Like, you couldn't even do this if you were McCree or Soldier 76. I don't know why you think you can do this when you're Sombra. This is a feed.
Translocating. Be right back.
Oh no, now we're going to be slow. So think about what you did here. You did this, you came here, you took your shots, and you ineffectively got out. And you ineffectively got out because there's a Hanzo looking at you, though actually you didn't need to yet. I know, I'm rewinding a lot. You're in your Winston bubble, might as well use it. Right? You're not in any danger. What are you teleporting for? You were in a Winston bubble. Like, yeah, it's scary having these two snipers here, but this is closer to your optimal range than theirs. Hanzo is a sniper, tank-busting, close-range monstrosity sniper. But you have a Winston bubble here. Until he walks into that Winston bubble, you're totally fine. Just shoot at him.
Translocating.
You're still reloading, and there's... no,
Be right
no.
back. Iniciando el hackeo.
Who can tell me what Widow's best ability is? Who can tell me what Widow's best ability is that can be taken away with Hack? Infocyte is pretty good, but Grapple. Grapple is what we're looking to take away when we hack a Widowmaker. We hack a Widowmaker when we're on top of her, so that when we try to finish her, she can't hook away. So we just teleported away from a Widowmaker that was right here, and now Widowmaker is here. She didn't take a sim TP. So what is this hack doing? Oh, well, we're taking away... Oh, she doesn't have grapple. By the time our hack on her ends, she still won't have grapple. Huh. So we're hacking her to take away her popping Infocyte? She doesn't need Infocyte right now. To take away Venom Mine? That's a terrible trade. That's a terrible trade. And the time that you get the hack off, you could have done more damage in the swing. This is completely a mistake, and this is you not putting any thought into what you're hacking. This is you, I see someone and I want to hack them. No, absolutely not. You have to know why you're hacking stuff. You can hack, you go, hey, it's a ball, I'm going to hack the ball. Hey, it's a tracer, I want to get a hack on them because it takes there's too many blinks, there's a recall that I've got to get rid of, etc. There's Nana. Oh, she's already used her nade. Maybe I don't care to hack her. Like, Widow, she's already used her grapple. Maybe I don't care to hack her. Hanzo doesn't have Storm Arrow. Why would I bother hacking? Diva already, this is you got to be aware. Lucio has already used amp. What's the point in hacking it? Like, this is how we want to be thinking about this stuff. Not completely. What's the point when you're trying to clean up a point quickly, like in Lucio's stalling? Sometimes there's still value in hacking, but you get where I'm going with this. And Lucios who are out of position, you can also hack. So Lucio was maybe a worse example, but you still aren't hacking Lucio willy-nilly. You're hacking him when he's out of position and can be punished by your team, not when you're behind them just cause you want to take a fight with him. So you got to be aware of why you're hacking, what ability you're looking to take away, or what abilities you're looking to take away. And with Widow, grapple is by far the thing you're most interested in taking away, and there's no point if she's already used it. So this is just downtime. This is just slowing down when you get your EMP, and slowing down your uptime in general. What's your plan? This is a lot of wander time. You haven't gotten health packs during this time. You haven't really staged during this time. You've just been sort of wandering around ineffectively for 3 or 4 seconds now. it's because you were so interested in that hack. No. No. Could have gone through here, gotten a health pack, restaged yourself up, and then been like, oh, and now I have this nice hog that I can farm back here. Oh, Hanzo peeks me? Okay, I'll leave. And then they don't know if I'm coming back through here to do work or here to do work, and it's leaving them distracted and going, I want to turn and deal with you. Which way do we go? And oh, my team came back and is fighting them. Like, okay. Okay. Nordstrom. You're taking them down with the Venom Mine just to tilt them. There you go.
My ultimate is fully charged. Get in there. Has reached
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
What are we doing? You're hiding from the detected. I get it. But, like, if we're going to hide from the detected, her team can see you. So your stealth isn't going to do any good. Let's just be simple for a second here. She can see you for, let's say, the next 7 seconds. You're not willing to leave here for the next 7 seconds because she can see you. How can you make any use of this time? Well, the real answer is you can go, hey, I'm not going to be leaving here under pretty much any situation for the next 7 seconds. If I unstealth, I'll get my stealth cooldown back before the 7 seconds are out. And stealth isn't really helping me because she has sights up. And if I hack this health back, I'll pretty much have my hack cooldown back too. Might as well hack this. Am I generally saying you should always hack health packs? Absolutely not. But you're not willing to do anything else right now, so let's use this time. We'll have these things back if we use them. This is just totally wasted time. We could be re-stealthed with a hacked health pack right now. Fine. Angle. While you're reloading, angle left. Angles are great. See, the hog is like looking over here. The Hanzo's going, oh, do I need to be worried about things over here? Like, you want to be like, okay, I'm here. My right heart's here. I have cover options. If Hanzo's paying too much attention, I close the angle, and then Hanzo either keeps a bead on me while not being effective, or he gets bored and turns back this way, and you go, oh, now I'm going to work on your mercy again. Like, that's how this works. Plus, you're not going to be willing to walk forward an EMP here, I hope. From this direction, yeah, you've got more cover to get in here and get this EMP off. If you want EMP this early.
Let them up.
Uh-oh.
Apagando las luces.
Let's go back a few more to show you how this played out. You got slept. That sucks. You're down 1 right now.
See you later.
Okay. You got a counter. Cool. Counter a limb. You're both down 1.
I might need this later.
You've been missing from this fight for a while, though, while your team is... So your team went down 1 first. You got a counter a limb, but you've been gone for a while. First you slept. Now you have to run back into the fight. How is your team really doing in this fight? Now, you don't get to know that perfectly, but we do in replay, and it's kind of unsurprising that your team, which is now down 2, and has effectively been down 2 for a while because you were slept and then teleported out and are just now getting back to the fight, your team's behind. Even though your team went up with the first elimination, it's not surprising that your team's behind, as your team is pretty massively behind. And now you're here. Is your team going to be able to do much with this? Really? Really? And the answer is no. Yeah, hopefully they get the Hanzo elimination. Hopefully you are able to get into the lamp. Hopefully Bap is like, this is... No. You didn't properly take stock before you hit this.
Apagando las luces.
And you guys don't really get a limbs during the EMP, and as soon as the EMP's over, they do this.
One shot, one kill.
I saw Indy. I saw he was going for hacks during the EMP. And to be fair, there can be times for that. Like if you go, hey, we're hitting EMP to start the fight, and their fight winning ult is Grab or Nanoblade or Beat, you can go, before the EMP ends, I want to rehack to extend the duration, because as long as they can't get this off, we win the fight. There can be justifications for that. Was that what was going on in this case, is we were trying to hack, I think it was a Roadhog? No, it was not. Maybe, yeah, anyways.
Let the dragon consume you.
Okay, so now we're on the Widow. Don't you dare re-peek this. You just triple peek to the same angle. Okay. Better. I mean, you know, we're losing, but better. You know you can't stay here, right? Just drop the card. What do you do? Oh, okay. Okay, let's see how this works on third. Start the Venom Mine counter? Yeah, I know. I know.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
Impossible. An enemy returns. Evidence suggests a sniper ahead.
Helden sterben nicht.
وريهم قوتك. وريهم قوتك.
Okay. You can see your Winston. You have that ability. Do you need to hit a trick grapple shot here? Or has your Winston done your job for you? Not your job for you. This is his job. Do you need to hit a fancy grapple shot for this Widow duel? You know where the Widow's shooting you from. You can't see her, but you are aware of your Winston, and you're aware that your Winston is moving. Completely worthless. This is completely worthless. Your Winston has already tied up that Widow for you. And you knew that before you hit the grapple if you were paying attention. And you knew that was a possibility because your Widow was right there. So you just put your grapple on cooldown for this fancy trick shot when you actually ended up burning some of the time that your Winston is distracting the Widow for you so that you can take your shot. This is, yeah. Hey, that time you did it. So here we are. There's the Widow. Widow's scary. You should close the angle. Why are you still having this open? Ugh. And now your Winston's jumping in, and I'd like to pretend that you're feeling comfortable re-peeking this again because your Winston is in there. I don't know that I can feel that way since you kept re-peeking it when your Winston wasn't, but hey. Yeah, enemy Anna is doing some work. Okay, so now that we have this brief respite, do we maybe want to think about where would a widow mine be useful? We could have ages ago put one here, which might have been useful if we were worried about the Hanzo climbing over and taking this, which is a thing that happened. So, you know, a widow mine here could have been nice. We could have put that ages ago. Now that we're here, we could be thinking, oh, we've got a little space. Do I maybe want to put a mine on this corner so that if someone peeks this corner to fight, they get caught like that? Do I maybe want to transition up to here and play this angle? Like there's you know, questions. Probably don't want to transition up here to play this angle, but we could definitely get a mine out. We could definitely get a mine out. Do we want to throw the mine here so that it, you know, when they peek this corner, it gets them? All sorts of good questions. Or do we just want to pretend we don't have the ability? I don't particularly like this. Why? Why here? Why not here? Is this massively changing your angle? No, it's not. Put it on payload. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's better than not using it. I prefer the places I pointed to more. You could also even put it up here. Up here would be fine. You throw a widow mine up here, and when they, if you later lose space and they transition a sniper up to here, their widow grapples up here, which is a very predictable thing. She takes the mine. Like I prefer all of those more than the payload.
Heal me.
Ha!
No one can hide from my sight.
Your friend pressed Q, so you need to press Q? Like why are we doing this?
No one can hide from my sight.
Why would we scope here? Why would we scope rather than just SMG down the ball that clearly, because you want the widow that badly? It's nice that you want the widow, but you could have just been SMGing down the ball. Like there was clearly a ball right here rolling this way. Just go pew 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 into the ball. That was the play. You're just gonna ignore the ball in your face? Right idea. I'd like you to be a little more aware of where your cover is, but right idea.
Let them up.
That soldier has cover and you don't. I mean, you have a window. Yeah, you grappled, and you grappled effectively to get to cover. Yeah, you don't have grapple, because you spent your grapple to get to cover, something that you shouldn't have needed it for before. Can we stop playing on the same angle as our team? Like, now that you do have grapple, can you please go up here so you at least have a little bit different of an angle from your team and you're not just shooting the same sight line as your whole team? Please? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, stay crouched. No, you didn't need to fall. Could have mined your feet a few times by now, you know, especially when you were down here where you had this sort of cover. You just mine your feet and go, they won't break their mine with their spam, but if the ball slams me, he'll get mined. You know, there's just thinking about that venom mine that hasn't been used. Okay.
Its destination.
Mine right here could be good. Would show you when this Roadhog comes through. Now you got to see it this time, but hey. I believe. This was not the place to go. What are you waiting on? I know you're swapping heroes, but... Okay. Okay, so we've talked about your Sombra, onto your Widow. So obviously, no Venom Mine usage at all is not going to be okay. You can get low value out of Venom Mine, but you got to get some value out of Venom Mine. Even if this value is, oh, I don't have to think as hard about this flank anymore. I don't have to think as hard about the remote possibility of Hanzo coming up over here. That's still something, value-wise. I don't have to think as hard about the or the possibility of their Widow grappling up to here later, because she might happen to get mined. Like, there's a chance that'll be useful. The other thing, though, that we need to be aware of is... we could talk about some of your peeking, but instead we're going to talk about... You're playing Widow. Please stop playing Widow. You don't play in the middle of the lane, but actually be near your cover. Like, please actually be near your cover so that you don't end up using grapple to get to cover, so that you don't end up in these bad situations. You should be able to close angles quickly when you're playing Widowmaker. You should be able to go, hey, I have this cover, and I close my angle behind the corner. I'm at the corner, and then I close my angle behind the corner, and you can see most of what you want to see. This is a coat. This is a coat, not a suit. They almost won it with the Bastion swap. It was close. I'm not sure we were watching the same game, blah. Looking fresh. Thank you. We need a video with temporal sound effects. You need more Sigma goats in your life and more pugs. I've worn this coat on stream before. Showing that high fashion. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
5, 4, 3, 2,
See you later.
1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Okay.
Sniper, be careful.
Bring this down to speed. You're like begging to be detected here, and I'm not sure why. Really? This is what you wanted? If this is what you wanted, I'm not sure why you weren't way deeper. But, like, why is this what you wanted? This was pretty fine with me. You just stand back here and go, I'm going to hit the tanks in the back and the side. I'm going to farm some EMP. If you want the Widow, I'm fine with that, but you stage way differently for that. You stage much deeper. You were staged to farm tanks when they walked through. To farm tanks in the crossfire between the core of your team and you. If you wanted to go for the Widow, you staged way deeper. So I have no idea why you staged here and then walked forward to do this. That's you. I don't mind either, but this is not the thing.
60 seconds remaining.
Hora de empezar de nuevo.
Heal up.
Ahorita regreso.
This will help.
¿Qué tal? Translocating.
Okay, but the Widow's right there. Yeah, that was the problem. So that was an absolute lack of respect for her. It just was. I don't particularly like that. Again, when you were set up to farm tanks earlier, it was okay because you were doing it in a place, even though it's not what you did, where their backline was only going to be able to influence their tanks, wasn't going to be able to influence you while you were working on their tanks. Here, it's less okay because you knew that Widow was there. You knew that was the thing. You could try to find an angle where she couldn't contribute, something like Osei over here, and farm stuff from up here. You could try to get cutesy and do like a this type thing. Those are both options. This not so much. Yeah. Like the Widow has nothing better to do than shoot at you. Of course she's going to take shots at you. So you're going for, I'm going to get 15, 20 ult charge in exchange for giving the Widow 2 to 3 chances to one-shot me. That doesn't sound like a good trade. Yes, Blah, you are correct, and that's why I don't wear my coat very often on stream.
Seconds remaining.
But it was a little colder than normal this morning. Not like actually cold enough that I needed to wear a coat, but enough so that I didn't notice and take it off.
Miss me? See you later.
Okay. Did she really not destroy your translocator?
Miss me? See you later.
That is great. It's a shame you have no ammo in your clip. It's also a shame you didn't realize you didn't have any ammo in your clip. Because you probably could have reloaded before she really reacted. Nice.
Don't mind me.
Okay, you did take away personal. I'm still not sure that was the play. I think you were better off holding hack to be available for ball than as opposed to hacking Zarya, but whatever. Is she close on ult? No, she's not remotely close on ult.
10 seconds.
By the way, you have to do ult tracking when playing Sombra. Even though as a DPS player you can often get away with not doing ult tracking and be like, that's my support's job. No, you have to on Sombra.
Be right back.
And you have to be good at it.
Down for the count.
What are you trying to hack? What is this? What are you doing? Is that what you want?
I'm out of here.
It's not as great as you think it is. See how she still gets to move around? Yeah, it's not fair, but it's not as great as you think it is. I mean, you probably know you've probably hacked a Valkyrie Mercy before, so you did take away her res and her GA, but she still gets her movement freedom, which means it's actually not that great of a hack.
Let them up.
Yes, if you comboed it with like a visor or a high noon, there's no chance she'd get away now because she can't GA, but you didn't.
No stopping me.
Doesn't have amp, doesn't even have boop, is close enough to be beat that it's reasonable for you to think that they have that though. So I'm gonna go okay. I'm gonna believe that you're ult tracking and going nope. Beat is their fight winning ult right now, so that's what we've got to stop. On Sombra, you can see if they have ult or not. Not Zarya. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you still want to do the tracking because you still need to know you get that feedback. I mean, A, it's a when you have that feedback because you need that feedback for making your hack decision, but B, like a Lucio at 94% ult is a Lucio with ult, and you still want to hack that to shut that down potentially. Didn't work out, but hey. Okay. So we have a win con. And a fair amount of time to do it. I'm a little surprised that the rest of this game is this long, actually.
To 3. Switching sides.
Right. The icon pops above their head, but you need to know before you hit the hack mystery. Like, the point is you need to do the ult tracking because you need to know on that Lucio, for example, before you bother to hack him, or on that Zarya, before you bother to hack them, is there an ult there? Is there an ult that I'm actually delaying from coming out? Because we've talked about ult timing, and ult timing is pretty important. Ult timing tends to be early in the fight, well, it's still a 5v5, 6v6, but as the fight, but after the fight has started, preferably after a couple cooldowns have come out. If you get your hack off very early into the fight, when the fight has started, on the plan that their ult was built around, could be a grav, could be a nanoblade, could be an EMP, could be a beat, could be a transcendence. If you get the hack out on what their fight was planned around, it's gonna be pretty darn effective. So you need to know before you hack them because the second hack is generally way too late in the fight.
Natural selection.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Thanks, David.
Taking the high ground.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Glad to have you here watching.
Sniper, think we
Okay,
Escort the payload.
that helps. This Ana really has just decided to put this game on her shoulders. I suppose it was the other Ana before, but hey. Where are you going? Fine. No stealth for movement speed? Kind of slow to enter that stealth. It is a movement speed, but what are you doing? Oh, you're wanting to wait. Don't. Your team is winning this. Don't waste time here. This is the uptime problem that we talked about at the very beginning of the video, or the first time we saw in chat, where Sombras tend to have uptime problems because they tend to be a little too obsessive. They A, go for hacks when they shouldn't. They just get into, I need to default hack mode. They B, get into, I need to wait to place my translocator. I can't do anything. And they C, go on really long loops after placing their translocator, and they have really, really bad downtime. You didn't need to wait to place this translocator. As soon as you were up here, you needed to stealth for the movement speed buff. You needed to run out here. You needed to start doing work from here. And once your translocator was available, you could just throw it back into this hallway. Is that a perfect translocator placement? No. But it's better than just waiting to place your translocator here. And you can do lots of work from here. And your Winston was in. So, like, your Winston was in. This was time for you to do work that you clearly missed.
Looking for me?
Don't do it.
Let's get started.
Who is she going to Guardian Angel to that's helpful right now? She's not going to res anyone. So who is she Guardian Angeling to, from her perspective, that really helps her against you? The answer is no one. Both of her Guardian Angel targets suck. I don't care if she Guardian Angels. So, in the time that it takes you to hack, that's time you could have been doing damage. That's time they weren't really paying attention to you because you were able to get your hack off. Would they have paid attention to you slightly faster if you were doing damage? Yes. Is it still worth it? Absolutely. Please do the damage instead. That's just lazy aim. That's just lazy aim. You know that there's a target not there.
Looking for me?
Fine.
But
There's nothing on your screen. It's not I need to adjust my crosshair. There's nothing on your screen, and you're at 52 shots. Still nothing on your screen. Now there's a Mercy on your screen. You've adjusted a little. Oh, nothing on your screen. I mean, there is, but you can't hit that Mercy. You literally can't hit that Mercy. You went from 52 shots to 0 shots with like 3 shots worth of actual damage in there. And most of that was at a wall when Mercy wasn't on your screen. And, you know, Sigma might have been on your screen, but you very clearly weren't trying to hit the Sigma. That's just like, no. You have to actually try to aim. You actually have to be aware. You don't shoot at people who aren't there. You don't pre-fire at the Mercy in case she's going to walk around into it, because even if you're thinking she's going to walk into it and take damage, you know that your clip isn't enough damage to do that, quite frankly. Like, you can't miss a bunch of shots into the wall with your clip to pre-fire, because with your mechanics, you barely have enough in your clip to take her down. So, like, you can't be wasting ammo into the wall. That was unacceptable. Like, I almost don't want to talk about that, because you know better than that. Like, that was embarrassing. Okay. So, please, please actually aim when you're firing. You do know how to aim. You played some Widowmaker. You were trying to aim earlier when you were fighting the Ana back on first time defense here. So, like, you can do this. I don't know what crept in there, but squash that. Get rid of that. Okay. This game all comes down to who had the better Ana versus Ana. Okay. Glad you're enjoying it. Later, Mystery. If I have a VOD, would you like to look at what do I need to do? If you have a VOD that you would like me to look at, words are hard. Okay, if you want to submit a VOD, you should join my Discord, and in there you will see that you can do paid VOD reviews, in which case I'll get to it, and I'll generally get to it pretty quickly within a day or so. If you want to throw in a freebie request, I may or may not get to it. And remember, once the patch code hits, I can't get to it, and those hit pretty frequently. So I get a lot of requests. I don't get through everything anymore. I do what I can can, but I don't get through anything every more. So if you want to guarantee that I'm going to review it, do a paid request. If you just want to be a freebie hopeful, that's totally fine too. Join the Discord and throw it up in there.
I'm out of here.
Okay. Thank you, Plop. You taking a sip of your drink? Oh! I'm gonna do my Gene enactment here. No, I don't know what Gene is doing. Maybe he's typing. Maybe he's talking to his team. Maybe his cat jumped on his keyboard. Being AFK does cost you matches.
Good job, team. Let's keep it going.
If your team doesn't win the game right here, I'm blaming you.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Helden sterben nicht. Das bleibt. Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei. Translocating.
Okay. You're gonna have to drop and then translocate back up. You can't challenge her at this range. You can't challenge her at this range.
I'm out of here. Be right back.
Okay. Let's go back here. Your team will lose if this Widow does not get challenged. So you either ask your monkey to challenge this Widow, or you challenge it yourself. You do not challenge it like this. This is not how we challenge it. We have to get up next to it to challenge it. Your team will lose if this Widow is just allowed to stay up there. Why are you still trying to go for hacks? You need to translocate up or threaten to translocate up to that Widowmaker. Why are you still here? What are you doing?
I'm out of here. Be right back.
The Widow wasn't looking. You had a free chance to translocate across. Okay, so your team has clearly lost this fight, and you were AFK for a good 45 seconds there. Maybe closer to 30, but like you spent a lot of time AFK, and your team had won the fight. Your team was up 2, and you might feel like, oh, they should have just been able to finish it, etc. Well, they almost certainly would have if you were there. Like, these guys got to push back in, got to turn the fight. Like, they almost certainly won the game already. Like a good 20, 15, 20, 25 seconds ago, if you hadn't spent a long time AFK in here. Like, 20 seconds, whatever it was. But you spent a long time AFK in here. 15, 20, I don't remember how long it was. But you were AFK here for a long time, AFK here for a long time. Your team for sure would have won this. So any sort of, oh, I can't win, I can't climb. Like, if you just want to know how to play the game better, that's fine. We can teach you how to play the game better, not being AFK is part of it. But if this is I think I'm better than my teammates, well, it doesn't matter if you're better than your teammates, because guess what? You missing this portion of the match brings you right back down. Your contribution to the match just dropped, and it dropped at a crucial point. Anyways, I'm not saying you do think you're better than your teammates. That's not me suggesting that at all. But if there's any lingering, why can't I climb? Or if there's any of that, because I know we get that sometimes for players in gold and such. Well, the example A, B, and C.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
Nano
No
boost
manches.
discharging.
Beacon in place.
Okay, if ball's gonna feed, fine with us.
Payload stopped. That's exactly what we're going for.
Good, you can get it over here. You can still get it.
Translocating.
Wow. Good. Unfortunately, you lost your Hanzo. You can still take the 5v5 though.
I might need this later.
No, no, no!
I might need this later.
Your monkey and your Bap are back here doing shenanigans. Your Reinhardt is going to have to close all this distance. And more than half of your EMP time will have been used by the time your Reinhardt actually gets over here, unless he goes for a pin. If he goes for the pin and misses it, he'll have used up 2/3 of your EMP time. So, like, this isn't actually that great. This is the second time you've done that where you've gone, I'm going to go deep for this EMP. You actually want your teams engaged before you hit the EMP. You're trying to start the fight with EMP, and that's not what you want to do. You want your team, you're basically using the EMP to like rotate your team in here. And they'll get more value than that, but part of the EMP's value is becoming rotating them in, and you don't want that. You want them to be able to rotate on their own or using their abilities, like Rhine Shield, and then you want to hit the EMP. When Rhine is like here, and it's like, oh, 2 steps and I swing at your Sigma. And that's a big deal. That is a big deal. Or after your Winston and Bap have driven this back, and your Winston can go, oh, I just drop, or oh, now I can jump across. This is not going to be great. I predict this not being great.
Apagando las...
Yeah. You need to have good EMPs if you're going to Sombra. Too much of her hero power is tied to her ult for you to have average EMPs, we'll call it. Sort of. You can use Window. Window tends to get used earlier than most ults. Window can be used a little more to force rotations in or out, so that'll, and like it's not necessarily a bad use. Window tends to be the earliest ult use that's coming to mind initially. You can also use Infocytes. Infocytes is more of a fight starter where it's the opposing team is about to rotate in and we're defending. We think they're about to rotate or they just started their rotation and now we pop Infocytes to make them very uncomfortable. So yeah, there's a couple. Valk sorta. Valk could actually still time a little bit later than that. Valk comes out earlier than most ults, but Valk I still want my team in. You can use Valk in the same place that you would use in a very similar place, though still earlier, because you'd use if you're using trans or beat aggressively, like as an offensive ult, where you go team brawl super hard and you team go wild hard, and before anyone goes down, so I'll save them with beat or trans. Those you'd use with basically standard ult time, I suppose we could say. Valk you'd use a little bit earlier. You still want your team to press hard, but because it doesn't do the bunch of extra health or insane healing, you do pop it a little earlier, but you do still want to pop Valk once your team is in, either with aggressive angles, in, has dove, etc. Like you wouldn't pop Valk before your team has dove if they were a dive team, for example. So I don't think Valk qualifies, but I would say Window and Infocytes are probably the closest. And a good example of that is, again, we'll match it up against dive. If Widow's playing into dive, she's not going to pop Infocyte after the dive team is already dove. She's going to pop it while they're staging, or right when they're starting to stage, before the fight has actually started.
On me. Group up with
It can. Rally's in the earlier group. You don't want your whole rally to get kited, though. So I prefer to not pop it too much before the fight has started. You can pop it while you're doing your final rotation in and let them kite it a little bit, sure.
on me.
Okay. Are you going to deny the Mercy Rose? Good.
60 seconds.
Decided you were done with that barrier? Okay. Okay.
Leave this to Sniper. Leave this to me.
We still haven't used a mine. She shouldn't have been able to re-enter because there probably should have been a mine there, but that's okay. Fine.
Helden sterben nicht.
30 seconds remaining.
Here I am.
A cursory evaluation indicates time's running out. Enemies re-engaging.
Okay, now's your chance.
Push forward. It's not over yet.
Good.
Shield coming at you.
Oh no. Okay. So, obviously the biggest thing that would have... What was that?
Sniper.
Shield coming at you.
Yeah, okay. Obviously the biggest thing...
Victory.
Oh, I wanted that screen. Okay. Biggest thing that would have been the difference maker here would have been to not be AFK for 15, 20, however many seconds that was, but it was a long AFK in the middle of the match. I don't know what happened. Maybe you spilled water on your keyboard. Maybe, something happened. If so, that's life, but obviously those do cost you matches. But getting into stuff that, you actually want to hear, that's actually going to help you improve more, not that not being AFK won't help you improve, we're going to look at Widow, and this ability exists. Please remember that this ability exists. Remembering that this ability exists is good. That would be great. Other than that, I want you to be more aware of what your cover looks like when you're playing Widow. Like, hey, this, you have cover options. This, you have cover options. You can play here. This is a strong spot. I'm not going to knock on it. But be aware that you can back up. Be aware that you can go here. Like, know a little more where some of your cover options are when you're playing Widow. I would appreciate that. That would be good. I think you spent more time on Sombra, though, and for your Sombra, your biggest difference maker is going to be your EMPs. You're consistently going for your EMPs a bit too early. You're trying to start the fight with EMP, and I want you to think of EMP more as my team is already here, my team is already engaged. My team does not need an EMP to be able to get in with 6 people. My team needs an EMP to completely win the fight once 6 people are in. So once your Reinhardt has met with, someone that they can be swinging at, or once your Widow, if you had a Widow, has taken a deep angle, once your Sigma has taken an angle, like once your team is in, once your team is actually in, I want the EMP to come out, not when they're back here. I also want you to do less of this auto hacking stuff. Like, you hold down this auto hack button. Don't do that. If you're hacking someone, you should know what ability you're trying to take away from them when you hack them. You should not just hack a Widow that's on bridge and clearly just used grapple. That's not a thing that should happen. So those are 2 things for Sombra. I gave you a couple things for Widow. Try to focus on working on those one at a time. One at a time, and I would start with your EMPs on Sombra because the hero just doesn't have value if you don't do that. You should also really think about, hey, can I use my shallow angles to do work like this? I really don't like how much you played with your team like that as Sombra. These shallow angles like this would be great. But work on things one at a time. Let them take like 10, 15% of your brain power to be going, okay, I'm playing Sombra. I'm thinking about getting my EMPs after my team is engaged, as my team is, just started the engage. Not when my team is still walking forward trying to get in, but as my team is in. You, for example, don't go, I EMP, and then my Lucio pops amp and my Rhine runs in, etc. No. Your Rhine has already gotten in, and then you hit EMP. Or your Orisa already has a sight line, and then you hit EMP. Or your Widow already has a sight line, and you hit EMP. That's what you're looking to do. Not my Bap and Winston are back here, and my Reinhardt and Anna are here, and I hit an EMP. That's not what we're looking for. Again, 10, 15% of your brain power while you're playing the game, focused on that. Do it for 5 games, do it for 10 games, do it for whatever it takes until you feel like it's stuck, and then move on to improving on the next thing. And then if you find that it's falling off, it's getting a little worse when you've moved on to the next thing by more than just, a little bit, you drop the new thing and go back and continue focusing on the first thing until it's actually stuck and that improvement has really happened, and then move on again. And if this time it doesn't work, doesn't fall off, great, you've got it, it's part of your habits. Now you get to work on improving the next thing. And just stacking one habit improvement after another habit improvement after another habit improvement, you might lose a little SR on the way because you're spending some of your brain power on getting better as opposed to using it all on tactics, aim, etc. But over the course of the long run, that's how you get better, because sure, after you've stacked 3 or 4 habits, it's, even when I'm focusing on learning something new, I'm now performing at a higher level because my EMPs are better automatically. My mind is actually getting used. My hack isn't being used mindlessly. All those things. Okay. If you guys have questions, throw them up in chat now. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps me out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what my rates look like, see what sort of promos, events we have going on, all that good stuff. And let's see, do I have anything else? Yeah, I can do another one after this. Good. Okay, so questions. Don't think Sombra was the hero. It can be used to force soldiers of the enemy. Set Reaper free. Okay, okay. Looks like that covers it. I will do one more of these, so I will see you guys shortly. Thanks, guys. Temporal.